Hi friends, welcome. My name's Cole, if you haven't met me before. Welcome to YOGATX, and I wanted to share with you today a gentle beginner's yoga class. So maybe this is your first time to practice yoga. I'm sure that you've heard about it, maybe found some interest, so welcome. And maybe you're just looking for a gentle practice today, and welcome as well. So a couple things that I want to mention is that it's really important that I'm going to offer you suggestions. Some things are going to work in your body and some things won't feel so good. So it's really important, and a big part of this practice of yoga is learning to create relationship with ourselves, to learn what feels good, to learn what doesn't feel good, to kind of watch our emotions, track our thoughts, all of these different things we get to learn about ourselves. So this is a beautiful space and opportunity to check in with your body. Know that we all have different bodies, and even within the same body, it shows up differently on each day. So again, I'm just offering suggestions, and take what works, leave the rest, no worries. It's all a practice. Let's start seated. So I really recommend that you sit up on a pillow or block. This will lift the hips up higher and you'll have more space. Because it doesn't necessarily come natural to us, especially in the Western culture, to sit cross-legged. So this may be a little intense, and there's ways to maneuver it and it gets easier. We'll just come to a seat to begin. And this is called Sukhasana, which means easy pose, which may not be easy. Very subjective name, isn't it? But this is where we'll start. Close your eyes down. And today we're just going to do a few different poses. And I really want the focus to be on your breath. So find a really steady inhale and a steady exhale. And this breath is this life force. It's something, it's a vital energy in our bodies throughout our whole lives. And often we don't give it attention at all. Before I started doing yoga, I never even thought about thinking about my breath or anything. So if that's where you are, that's completely normal. Just feel the flow come in and breathe through your nose. And let it come out. Let it come out through your nose as well. As if you could trace it in and out. Sometimes it's really interesting what happens in our mind when the body gets still. Maybe you notice some thoughts coming in. And just keep coming back to the breath. And it's a misconception that, when we meditate or when we do yoga, that it may quiet the mind, but that's not necessarily the goal. The mind is always going to do its thing. So you're not doing it wrong if you're thinking. And you're not able to stop thinking. But we're just letting the other things, it's like we're turning up the volume on some other things and maybe turning down the volume on the breath, not on the breath, don't do that. Turn down the volume on the thoughts, maybe turn up the volume on some of the other things, listening to the sensations in the body. Hearing, feeling the surroundings. And one more big inhale. And sigh out. Slowly open your eyes. Beautiful. So begin to make a few movements here. Let's bring the hands to heart center. So this is Anjali Mudra. Mudra is the hand position. So we're going to press the hands into each other and actively press them instead of just putting them together. We'll actively press them together because then that's going to engage the arms and the back body. So feel what it's like just to put your hands together and then press them together. You can really feel the difference. And just take a round of breath here and we'll start to move. So on an inhale, we're always going to move up, and on an exhale, we'll move down. And just so you can try it, inhale, move your arms up, and exhale, move your arms down. And then try it the other way. Exhale, move your arms up. Feels a little strange. Inhale, move your arms down. So I'm just showing you that because there's a natural rhythm. An inhale is a natural expansion and an exhale is a natural kind of falling. You can even imagine like a jellyfish, how it seems like it's breathing that up and down, the undulation. So we use our breath as a propulsion, essentially. It's like the impetus for our movement. So let's just breathe and move. It's as simple as that. Inhale, lift the arms, gaze up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, move the arms up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Use the whole breath to get where you're going. So I'm using the whole inhale brings me up. I use the whole breath. And the whole exhale brings me down once more. Inhale. So really the postures are just decorations for the breath. Exhale down. It's helping us to remind us to breathe. And you can release the hands. Beautiful. Let's take the right arm up into the air and take the right hand back. So the right elbow sticking straight up. Maybe it looks more like this and that's fine. Left hand is going to come to the elbow. We're just going to open up underneath the shoulder here, underneath the tricep. And notice if you're kind of leaning, like you're arching the back a lot, then you can knit the low ribs together because we want to be all integrated here. So not too loosey-goosey. If you're really tight, this might be really challenging. So just see where you can go. And we're going to lean over to the left. Maybe this left hand comes down onto the ground if you need a little bit of support. Get a side body stretch here. And we're going to come back up. Lift the right arm. We're going to twist towards the left. The right hand comes to the thigh. The left hand comes behind. So seated twist. So a couple different things here. We're gazing over towards the left, but we don't want the shoulders to roll in. So roll the shoulders back and bring the heart center forward. And in this case, forward won't be towards the screen or the camera. The forward will be toward the way that we're turning. So we're kind of bringing the heart center forward. Shoulders away from the ears. Continuing to breathe. One more inhale. And release, and we'll switch sides. Inhale the left arm up, the hand behind the head, elbows coming up, right hand comes to the elbow. So notice the difference on both sides. So automatically, for one, I'll say, I have a tendency to banana my back like this. So I have to really think about knitting the ribs together. So you can check in with your body. We begin to notice that our bodies have patterns that, we've never thought about. Begin to notice our patterns, and then we can decide, that's a good pattern. That's good for me. Or maybe I'll work on shifting that one. But we have to have the awareness first, and this is a place to gain that. Now let's begin to arch over towards the right. Maybe the right hand comes down, so getting the side body stretch. Open the heart, so spiral the heart open to the left. Gazes up. And we slowly lift up, left arm comes up. Left arm to right knee, and we twist. Roll the shoulders back, heart center comes forward. Shoulders away from the ears. A couple slow, steady rounds of breath. And slowly release. Let's come off the block and send the legs out in front. So just shoot the legs out in front of you. The knees can be bent. There's a couple different options here. Let me show you. So you can sit up on a block so that the hips are a little bit higher here. This is an option. Or you can also take a block or a bolster or a pillow or even a rolled up towel or blanket and place under the knees. So it just depends on your level of flexibility and the tightness of your hamstrings. So if you're wondering what I was just doing, I'm scooting my booty back because that helps the pelvis sit forward a little bit. So we have a tendency to sit like this with the tailbone tucked. Then we have this arch in the low back, and this is where we get a lot of our postural problems from. We're sitting at a computer, we're driving, so we want to reverse that. So right now, I'm posterior tilted of the pelvis. So when we scoop out a little bit, the pelvis can turn forward. So that's what I was doing there. Flex the toes back. Inhale, lift the arms up so we find lots of length, lots of space between the ribs and the hips, and then fold forward. So this may look many different ways. Maybe you can easily come forward, or maybe you're feeling a stretch right here. And remember that it's not about what it looks like. Don't try to emulate my shape or to look like me, but it's about feeling the stretch in your own body. So you may be feeling this in the hamstrings, in the low back, and really we feel it in different places. But yeah, it's important to realize that the shapes are going to look different in everybody. So this is forward fold. One more inhale. And sigh out. Beautiful. And slowly roll up. And we'll move the bolster. And we're going to come onto our hands and knees. So you can just shift around, the knees around if you'd like. We're going to take cat-cow pose. So this is a really nice position and transition to know because we use it in lots of different places. But this is traditional cat-cow. The shoulders are going to be over the wrists. The hands are really, really wide. So spread the fingers really wide. Press down through the fingers and the knuckles and less in the hand, less in the wrists, more through the fingers and the knuckles. So shoulders stack over wrists. And then cow pose, we're going to drop the belly, roll the shoulders back, and gaze up. This is cow pose, like an old sway back cow. And then exhale, push the ground away, tuck the chin to the chest, and tuck the tailbone. This is cat pose. I'm like an angry cat. So we got an old cow and an angry cat, or a scared cat. Now let's move with breath. So an inhale is always going to be cow pose because we're gazing up, expanding. Exhale, cat pose because we're rounding, bringing in. Now continue to move with your breath here. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Beautiful. Slowly we're going to come down onto the belly. So however you'd like to get there. I'm just going to move my hair back real quick. We'll come all the way down to the belly. So you can lift the legs up and as if someone's going to pull your toe back a little bit. You'll find a little bit more length like that. Take the hands underneath, not underneath the shoulders, but more on the sides of the rib cage. And we're just going to do a couple back strengthening, back bends. Roll the shoulders back so that they're away from the ears. Press down the tops of the feet and the pubic bone. Very important. Press the pubic bone down into the floor. This protects the low back. So on an inhale, we're going to lift the chest up, but see if you can lift using the back muscles instead of the hands. Maybe the hands even come up off the ground. So the head is not lengthened up right here. You want to lengthen the back of the neck as if you don't want any wrinkles in the back of your neck. So you're finding length. Maybe the hands come down, but we're not putting a lot of weight there. And exhale, release. Maybe take a moment, wiggle the hips. I'm a fan of wiggling. I think it's good to find any movement that feels good in your body. And sometimes you just have to try it to see. And then now let's take the hands wider. So this is going to be a wide hand cobra pose. Inhale, lift up. You will have to use the hands. So maybe you straighten the arms, but just notice that the shoulders aren't up by the ear. So I see this a lot on people. So this is a better pose with the elbows bent, but shoulders away. So notice where your shoulders are, and we'll adjust for that. Now we're going to move with breath here. Tops of the toes are still in. Pubic bone's still pressing down. That's protecting the low back. But on an exhale, we're going to put down the right shoulder and gaze over the left. Our inhale will bring us to center. Exhale to the left. Inhale, center. Once more each side. Center. And center. Float the torso down. Plant the hands. Now we're going to push the ground away and push back into child's pose. You may have heard of this one. The knees can be together or the knees can be wide. So see which one feels better. If you have any low back issues, the knees together will be a little bit more supportive. Bring the forehead down, the shoulders relax down the sides of the body. This is a pose of reverence, a really nice pose of surrender. It's really cool to lace intentions in with the postures. And here I like to lace in this feeling of letting go, of releasing, of surrendering something. So traditional child's pose has the arms down by the side. You can also bring the arms out in front. It can be nice to turn the palms up. So maybe you're just allowing and welcoming this new practice into your life. If this is one of your first new classes, maybe you just release the hands, you open the palms, and are just willing to receive. Maybe this is what this can mean for you here. And we'll slowly gaze forward towards the hands. We'll come up into tabletop, and we'll do one more pose here. So let's turn over, or you can walk forward. We're going to come onto the back, however you'd like to get there. I want to show you a supported bridge because this is super nice. We'll do two more poses. So let's do supported bridge. Bring the soles of the feet down onto the ground. The knees are pointed up. Take your hands and place your fingertips. You should almost be able to touch your heels, or you touch your heels, yeah? So we're gonna lift the hips up. We're gonna take a block or a pillow and place it underneath the hips. So you're gonna elevate a little bit. So you can fold up a blanket, you can take a block, you could put a bolster here. The palms are gonna be faced up. Again, in this gesture of like releasing or allowing or receiving, depending on what is alive for you. And then separate the feet and let the knees fall in a little bit. So this is one option. This can be really nice to get some traction in the low back. So I tend to have some low back issues, so this feels so good for me. It lengthens, and you can even lift it up a little bit. Lift your tailbone up and lengthen down towards the heels. And then lay it back down. I can show you another variation with the legs. So it can be this way, or you can take the soles of the feet together and let the knees go wide. So this is called Supta Baddha Konasana. Maybe you won't remember that today, but that's what this pose is called. With the feet together and the knees wide. So either one of those are really nice. And because we're right here, I'll show you one more pose, and this one's so restorative and so good. It's called, we'll call it legs up the wall. Its other name is Viparita Karani. All that stuff comes later, but sometimes it's fun to know. And it just means legs up the wall. So you pretend like you're putting your legs up the wall, and you actually can, if you'd like to right now, move up to a wall and put your legs up the wall. If you're not against a wall, then you can just pretend. So this reverses the flow, the blood flow, energy flow. It's really, really restorative. I had a friend that used to do this he would set his alarm for like 20 minutes, and he would do it for like 20 minutes every night. And he swore by it. So you don't have to do it for 20 minutes. I normally just do it for like a minute or so. But play around with it and see what feels good. Then bend the knees, and we'll do a short Shavasana, which is everybody's favorite pose. This is the one, the icing on the cake that we get at the very end of practice. And Shavasana means corpse pose. That sounds a little strange, but it is symbolizing, like I mentioned, the poses symbolize something. This is symbolizing the ending of a cycle. So this is the ending of our practice. And it reminds us that we have to end things in order to begin things. So let's take about 10 rounds of breath in Shavasana. The palms go up, the feet, just everything is like puddled. You're kind of just puddled on the ground here. So close your eyes down. And especially in the beginning, this can be a challenging pose for people just because of the stillness. You might take right to it and pass right out, or this may be challenging for you. It was challenging for me in the beginning. But come back to that slow, steady breath. And 3 more cycles. And begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. And we're going to bring the knees into the chest. So wrap your arms around. You can rock side to side. And then roll over towards one side or the other into fetal position. So if corpse pose was the ending of a cycle, then fetal position is the beginning of the cycle. This is reminding us that we can always begin again. We can always start something new, begin a new cycle, see things with a new perspective. Take your top arm, slowly push yourself up. So let your torso be heavy and let the arms do the work. Kind of slither back up. And we'll come back into that beginning pose, Sukhasana, easy pose. Close your eyes down and just notice for a few rounds of breath. Notice anything you notice. Let yourself feel anything you feel, maybe more space. Maybe there's some sensation or vibration or emotion that's alive for you. Maybe just some relaxation. Or maybe frustration, who knows? Anything that's going on is valid and valuable and has messages for us. So we learn to listen and we create the space to listen. Bring the hands together in Anjali Mudra, prayer position. And we'll bow forward and we'll say namaste. And what namaste means is that my higher self and my shadow self sees your higher self and your shadow self. It's really an acknowledgement of seeing and being seen. Yeah. And a thank you. I always put a thank you in there, wrapped up into my namaste. But let's bow forward and we'll seal our practice as just a way to seal the ending of it. And together we'll say namaste. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me, whether this was your first class or you've been doing it for a while. It's such a beautiful medicine. And I'm super happy to be helping to spread the yoga message. And yeah, keep coming back. I'll see you next time. Again, my name's Cole. You can find out more about me, my website, colechanceyoga.com. Please subscribe to us here at YOGATX. We have all kinds of videos from some wonderful teachers coming your way. So yeah, we'd love to be part of your practice.